Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. And today, Beneath the Trees, Where Nobody Sees, is what we're going to review. And I love that title. I was intrigued by it fairly honestly. I honestly, I do just love the title. I saw that and I had to click on it and to figure out what was going on. And I saw the art style and I saw the story concept and I thought, yeah, this could be something worth talking about here, even if it's a very niche interest, but I think there are people out there who would like this kind of thing. I mean, it's honestly, you don't have to go far to find comic books about serial killers. Literally viewed on last week. But I think doing something different with it, something unusual with it, is worthwhile. There is a human fascination with this kind of story. The darkness, and there's all this idea that psychopathy or sociopathy is something which can afflict people, and we'd have no way of knowing until they do something about it. And even then, these people are really very, very good at hiding these kind of things, and it makes them quite terrifying. I remember watching Addams Family as a younger man, and Wednesday Addams going as a psychopathic killer because they look just like the rest of us. And it's a great joke, but it also is a genuinely terrifying circumstance. In this particular situation, we have a serial killer who lives in a small, idyllic Americana small town, but understands that anyone going missing in that small town will be the talk of the town for weeks, months, if not years. So instead goes to the big city to kill people because, let's face it, in a big city there's an awful lot more transient people who will go missing. People won't notice for a longer period of time, and it happens so often that it's really easy for these people to get lost in the system. This is a fairly common tactic. If you've ever watched anything like Criminal Minds or pay any attention to serial killers, it's this idea of high risk or low risk victims. So far, so standard. But I'm talking about this for a reason, and partly the reason here is the art style and the setting. Because yes, small town Americana is a big city, but also these characters are all anthropomorphized animals, and it is very pastoral Disney, shall we say. This goes down to the artwork style, which appears to be watercolors over inks, a style which I absolutely loved. There's a point when I was a younger man doing art, which that was my style of choice, and I got reasonably good at it. I was never great with colours, I preferred shading, but it was something which suited me, and I quite like seeing it. In this particular case, I like it because the colours are watered. They are quite, I don't want to say too thin, that sounds like an insult. What I mean is they don't go for over-the-top boldness. This is pastoral, it is soft, and it works that way because when we do see the violence, and there is violence in here, it is slightly more shocking because of it. But weirdly, that wasn't the bit that shocked me too much. It was the methodical nature of it, and the fact that it was so cool, calm, and deliberate. It reminded me a little bit the very first time I watched the Dexter TV series. Don't get me wrong, I've got some issues with how the TV series ended and what books they were based on, which went to some very strange places. But I remember enjoying that nature of seeing a character behave in this way, which I found fascinating. Seeing it done here, it is the same kind of vibe. The violence is, if anything, a little bit more horrific because it isn't quite as in your face. We don't really see it in terms of huge expansive motion bits where somebody is dragged to somewhere and beaten and killed and tortured. It is done in the most efficient way possible because the person doing it wants to get away with it. Now, this all comes down to why, because it's real easy to tell like a serial killer stuff. Like I said, we reviewed American Psycho last week. Why do it in this pastoral Americana, this fantasy world? Why does this add anything to the story? Because to do it and having no purpose would be a waste of fantastic artwork and a really cool concept. So I was trying to think, what difference does this world give us? And partly I think it comes down to the fact that this world of intelligent anthropomorphic animals with suits and jobs and things, they still are very, very human. They have jobs, like I say, they have very heteronormative relationships, they have pets, they buy food from butchers, which literally means other animals, but less intelligent, we assume, animals are slaughtered for food. These are omnivores, if not carnivores. Our main character is an omnivore, I think, and as such, this idea that something which looks very, very like them in a way which we as humans in our world have to deal with are slaughtered for food. Now, people can justify this in a number of interesting ways, and this is a very long, complicated moral discussion to get into, but I think something like that is going to be very relevant for this story. I think there's a little twist possibly coming. I'd be very surprised if it went exactly the way I expected, but I'm intrigued enough to at least carry on reading it. And then I got to the end of the issue, and we saw a little bit of coming next week. Now, don't get me wrong, the ending was already captivating me. I think it's setting up a really nice, just fantastic story on its own. But the idea of the setting and how the characters are done we see this one-page panel of coming next month, and it just adds to my expectation of where I think it could go, and I love it. I can't wait to see where it's going to go. It is not the most over-the-top exciting story. It is slow at times. It is deep, though, and I think if that's the kind of thing you're looking for, you could be very, very happy with this. I certainly am looking forward to the next issue. That's it for me today, though. I've got more to review, though, so I'll come back later on in the week. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!